So I 3-bet for value, and he's going to call with a lot of worse aces, a lot of worse jacks, and all sorts of shit like that. He folds relatively quickly. Interesting that he would elect to open that cutoff for a min raise. So we have to keep looking at things like that. Relatively interesting to look back on. So I have this table down here, and I haven't really played anything interesting. I played one moderately big pot, I guess, but it was extremely uninteresting, extremely standard. Just so happened that he had top pair. So again, we've sort of identified, I think, a lot of what we. I think that when you're it's amazing how well. A lot of you are probably used to playing 6 to 12 tables or whatever. It is amazing how well you can play when you're 2 or 3 tabling. It's phenomenal. I've noticed this a lot of times from. When I was previously playing. Previously, when I'm like playing 25-50 and I just can't get action, and I can only get like 2 or 3 tables of action, I wind up playing a few amount of tables very, very often, and it's amazing how well you can play when you play a low number of tables. It's just something that really you guys should, if you're not used to doing it or whatever, you should definitely look into it. It's phenomenal how precise of reads I can have, and how well I can sort of get a Preco, for instance. I think that we have a stone cold read on Preco now. Also, him betting the 29 on the spot where I have A7 and I 3-bet him pre-flop in position. Him betting 29 is extremely indicative of something I would expect him to do. I would very often expect him to. To bet smaller with strong hands and less with weak hands. So if he were to have a bluff there, like, I would have probably been more happy calling full pot there. I'm not going to talk about it in the moment. I assume most of you knew that. I would have been, pretty happy though with him betting full pot there. I don't know how much more happy, but I would have been pretty happy. Right hand side, we've got the 9 and the 9. There is some merit in some spots to 3-betting guys in position, but since I just don't have any history with these guys, I'm just not going to dick with it. I don't have history, obviously, to get it in, so I'm just not going to dick with it. I'm going to go ahead and flop is close. Going to just bet for protection. Don't really expect him to dick with us too much. It's very very close. Very close. There's just a lot of stuff that can happen. There's just a lot of stuff that can happen. Here's the board texture and stuff. The thing is, I think that a lot of times I get into this mode where I'm like, all right, got to get to showdown, blah blah blah. He's pot controlling, better hands, all this shit. But the fact of the matter is, I really just think that a lot of the time, let's look at this again. I really just think that a lot of the time he's just check folding. I don't think I put enough stock on how often he's just check folding. Here I'm obviously going to just call. Well, I mean, not obviously. There's some merit to raising, because I just think he's weak when he min bets. But I'm just going to call because we have a gut shot. Just kind of see how the rest of the streets unfold. This is a really. I mean, I expect him to have air. Ooh, what happened this time? I expect him to have air a shit ton. I mean, I just expect him to have air a lot. My ear doesn't really beat his air. It sort of does. It's a really weird spot. I mean, I still have a straight draw. I have pair draws. My pair draws are important. There's also like a decent chance he has like queen 10. If he min bets again, we're going to call for information. If he bets 41, I'm just going to assume that he has queen jack or queen 10. Really a weird spot. He might have king jack or something. I don't even have a bluff catcher. Would have been sort of an interesting spot if I had something slightly better. Interesting. My man Preco is changing it up for sure. Preco. Oh, baby. Beautiful flop for us. I'm thinking about A, Vegas, B, the Mirage, C, what I should raise to. Gonna make it 46. No, just kidding. Gonna make it 56. Would have probably C-bet 45 or 50. Oh, Preco. So it's important to note how fast he folded there. So Preco. Alright, so we're going to keep some notes up on Preco. So, honestly, I mean, when I'm sitting here two-tabling, I'm obviously not a bum hunter, and I never have been. I think it's super interesting. I think it's super interesting, a lot of the shit that you can see when you're only 2 or 3 tabling. I think that if you are a game selector, though, or even if you're, like, relatively speaking, bum hunting, and you're just playing these tables because of Preco, or you're somebody like Leatherass who has some sort of, who pays someone $10 an hour to watch the tables and look for people like Preco, and then you just jump on them and get in position on them. The fact is that there's still money to be made at No Limit Hold'em, and it's pretty important that you just look at something like this and you tell yourself, holy fuck, like this guy is, legitimately a fish, and there's still a ton of money to be made here. So it's really important that my seat is a gold mine right now. It's important that if you just play, I'm not going to say you play by a simple plan, you play by a basic plan, you don't play a lot of hands, blah, 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 all this stuff. But if you play straightforward, you play well, you listen to simple adages that I say and simple adages that other coaches on Lego say about how you really need to focus on playing pots in position, 3-betting in position, isolating, opening a lot of buttons, blah, 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 all this shit. You can really take advantage of Preco. I mean, I'm, poor guy probably doesn't even know it's being taken advantage of. And it looks like he also got out of the Poseidon adventure okay. But the fact of the matter is, Preco is just bleeding money like crazy, and I feel confident that he's not watching his daily allowance of Lego videos. I feel like if he was, he would not be making the mistakes he's made so far. Specifically, just limb calling every fucking hand in the book. So it'll be nice when I finally get, and the thing is, I've talked about this before. This is something really important to talk about. There's a balancing act. I can't, I can isolate a ridiculously wide range against Preco.